Have you ever felt it? The silence in a room that is heavier than the darkness. You look at the person lying next to you, the person whose breath you know better than your own, and you feel a terrifying emptiness, a void. Or worse, you feel a quiet, cold, unmistakable aversion. It's a feeling that carries so much shame. You've asked yourself, what kind of person am I to feel this way? After all the years, all the shared history, this person is not a monster. They are your partner. Yet the feeling persists. A silent rebellion from deep within your soul. You feel broken. You feel alone. But what if you are not broken? What if that feeling is not a moral failure, but a message? A desperate, vital message from the deepest part of you that has been ignored for far too long. Our culture sold us a promise, a beautiful, intoxicating promise that love is a feeling, a magical, spontaneous force that, if it's true love, will last a lifetime. We see it in every movie, hear it in every song. And so when that feeling fades, when the warmth is replaced by a cold distance, we assume the promise was broken, or that we broke it. We think in terms of failure. My love failed. I failed. But what if the promise itself was the problem? What if love isn't a feeling you have, but something you do? What if it isn't a state of being, but a project? There was a thinker over 2,000 years ago who was less of a poet and more of a biologist of the human soul. He would have looked at this modern crisis of fading affection with a calm, analytical eye. He would ignore our obsession with feelings and ask a single, devastatingly simple question. What is the purpose of this relationship? What is its function? To truly understand the cold aversion that can grow in the heart of a long-term bond, you've likely searched for answers in the halls of modern psychology.
You might have found Freud, who would perhaps point to a repressed conflict from your childhood, an echo of a parental dynamic playing out in your adult life. You might have explored the ideas of his brilliant student, Carl Jung, who would see this aversion as the eruption of your shadow self, the parts of you that you have disowned and that now return with a vengeance. These are powerful concepts, and they hold a piece of the truth. You might even have stumbled upon the modern resurgence of Stoicism, which seems to offer a path of resilience. It might advise you to accept this harsh reality with a detached indifference, to endure your state with apathy, focusing only on what is within your control. But what if these are all just sophisticated, elegant descriptions of the symptoms, not a diagnosis of the root cause? What if they are labeling the smoke but ignoring the fire? The genius of Aristotle, the thinker we invoke today, is that he provides not just a psychological label, but a functional diagnosis. He bypasses the what and goes straight to the why. He reveals that the feeling of aversion in a relationship is rarely a problem of the mind. It is a crisis of purpose. To understand this, we must look at his most practical tool for analyzing human connection, the three kinds of friendship, or in Greek, philia. See if you can recognize your own relationship in his descriptions. First, there is the friendship of pleasure. This is the love we all know from our youth. It's based on fun, on chemistry, on good times. The other person is a source of joy, excitement, and passion. You love them because of the pleasure you derive from their company. It is vibrant and thrilling, but as Aristotle noted, it is inherently unstable. When the fun stops, when life becomes hard, the foundation of this friendship cracks because its purpose, pleasure, is no longer being served.
Second, there is the friendship of utility. This is perhaps the most common form of long-term bond in the adult world. Here, two people are partners in a shared enterprise. They are useful to one another. Their purpose is external, to raise a family, to build a home, to create financial security, to maintain a certain social standing. It is a practical, functional arrangement. It is a partnership of project managing life. There can be affection, there can be respect. But the core of the bond is its usefulness. Each person helps the other achieve some external goal. And then there is the third, highest and rarest form, the friendship of virtue. Here, you love the other person not for the pleasure they give you or for the things they do for you. You love them for who they are. You love their character. You admire their virtues, their courage, their wisdom, their kindness, their integrity. The purpose of this friendship is not external. It is internal. The purpose is mutual flourishing. Each person sees the potential for greatness in the other, and their shared life becomes a project of helping each other realize that potential. In a friendship of virtue, two people are committed to helping each other become the best possible versions of themselves. Now, look at your own relationship with this Aristotelian clarity. What was its initial purpose? For most of us, it was a mix of pleasure and utility. And for a time, that is a powerful and necessary combination. It drives us to build a life, to create a family, to achieve our goals. But here is the crisis, the one that so many of us face in the quiet desperation of our middle years. The children grow up, leave home. The mortgage gets paid off. The career goals are met. The project is over. The utility has expired. The thrill of youthful pleasure has long since faded into comfortable, predictable routine.
And if, during all those years of utility, a true friendship of virtue was not actively and intentionally built, what is left? An empty structure, a partnership with no project, a bond with no purpose. It is in this void that aversion begins to grow. That feeling of coldness is the soul's reaction to a lack of purpose. The German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who understood the human will so profoundly, famously wrote, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." The same is true of a relationship. A relationship that has lost its why cannot bear any how. The daily annoyances, the small compromises, the routines, they become unbearable because they no longer serve a higher purpose. To grasp the solution, we must understand Aristotle's ultimate goal for human life, eudaimonia. This word is often translated as happiness, but that is a dangerously weak translation. Happiness is a fleeting emotion. Eudaimonia is a state of being. It means human flourishing. It means living at the peak of your potential, actualizing the best version of yourself through the consistent practice of virtue. It is the ultimate purpose of every human life. And this reveals the most revolutionary idea for our relationships. The purpose of a partnership is not to make you happy. The purpose of a partnership is to be a context in which two people can more effectively pursue eudaimonia together or side by side. The relationship is not the goal. Your flourishing is the goal. The flourishing of your partner is the goal. The relationship is the vessel. With this understanding, that feeling of aversion is radically reframed. Listen closely to this because it is the turning point. That cold feeling you dread, that recoil you feel in your soul, is not a sign that you are broken or a moral failure. It is a sign that you are healthy. It is a protest from the deepest part of your being against a situation that is preventing your flourishing.
It is the cry of a soul that refuses to wither in an empty structure. It is a biological imperative for growth, rebelling against stagnation. Your aversion is a sacred call to action. It is an alarm, signaling that your life's ultimate project, your eudaimonia, is in jeopardy. So what is the path forward? The Aristotelian path is not to try and feel love again. It is not to spice things up or go on more date nights. These are attempts to paint over the cracks in a collapsing foundation. The real path, the hard path, the noble path, is to begin the practice of virtue and to start asking the right questions. It requires a moment of brutal honesty, a self-audit. You must ask yourself, who have I become in this relationship? Over the years, has this dynamic made me more courageous or more timid? Has it made me more wise or more ignorant, more just or more resentful, more temperate and self-disciplined or more complacent? Has this partnership been a gymnasium for my character or a comfortable couch for my complacency? The core question is not, do I love my partner? The core question is, do I love the person I have become in this dynamic? This path of truth is not the path of comfort. It is the hardest work a human being can do. It requires looking at yourself and your partner without the soft filter of nostalgia or the hard lens of resentment. To attempt to build a friendship of virtue from the ashes of a friendship of utility is a monumental undertaking. It requires both people to commit to the difficult, daily practice of becoming better human beings and to lovingly and honestly hold each other accountable to that goal. And sometimes the most virtuous and courageous conclusion is to admit that the vessel of the relationship is no longer seaworthy for the journey to eudaimonia. Sometimes flourishing requires you to leave the shore, even if it means sailing into the terrifying uncertainty of being alone.
This truth is painful. It involves loss and confronts our deepest fears of loneliness. But Aristotle would remind us that the goal is not comfort. The goal is to live a life of meaning and virtue. The goal is to flourish. In the end, the power returns to you. You are the primary architect of your own flourishing. Your partner can be a cherished ally in this project, a fellow traveler on the path to virtue, but they are not the source of your eudaimonia. You are. Your choices, your habits, your commitment to your own growth, that is the source. When you shift your focus from what you can get from the relationship, pleasure, utility, happiness, to what you can become through it, virtuous, flourishing, the entire dynamic changes. You are no longer a passive victim of your fading feelings. You are an active participant in the creation of your character. If these explorations into the architecture of your mind resonate with you, ensure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future deep dives. We believe that understanding these great thinkers is not an academic exercise, but a vital tool for living a stronger, more intentional life. Now we invite you to take the first step on this Aristotelian path. In the comments below, share not a feeling, but a virtue, a single virtue, courage, honesty, wisdom, discipline that you commit to cultivating in your life for the sake of your own flourishing. Your commitments can inspire others on their own journey. Stop asking if you are happy. Start asking if you are flourishing. The answer will be your guide.